Okay, welcome everyone joining us online and here. We've already established a quorum, so at this time I need a motion for approval of the open session agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Consent agenda, I need a motion for approval of consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Communication and reports.
We have no correspondence this month.
Any requests for,
No requests were submitted for public comment.
okay? Finance report, Kat?
Hi, everyone. Finance report for this month is the Finance Department will be wrapping up the end of fiscal year projects and preparing for the ASBR submission that is due in August. The Finance Department is also starting the preparations for the FY24 audit. Auditors from Girding Court and Chitwood are scheduled to be on site September 5th. Per their direction, we have been gathering preliminary information and uploading that to them. In order for the district to maintain the current debt service levy of 1.1623, the district will need to do a prepay on the Series 2021 bond on March 1, 2026. The prepayment will be approximately $1.3 million. The prepayment will save the district approximately $60,000 of interest expense. We will formally ask the board to approve that prepayment at the August board meeting.
Kat? Maintenance report.
Yeah, we got a few things. Maintenance has completed the extension of the athletic trainer office. They were able to cut a hole in the wall between there and the closet to the east, and so it expanded that room. The RTU has been replaced that services the choir and band rooms at the middle school. The sewer line at the child care center has been repaired. Maintenance is in the process of constructing the walls for the office space in the SPED area. And then we've got ongoing cleaning and refinishing of the floor. Also, the lights, parking lot lights, they've been working on those. They've rented a lift and they've been working on getting those replaced. Patchwork on the asphalted upper will be going on yet this summer. Replacement of the kitchen floor at the high school will still happen. They've got the refinishing, not sanding down. That will be next summer. We'll come back to the board. But each year we have the gym floors at the high school and the middle school refinished. So that will be happening yet this summer. And then the cleaning of the stadium, the field, we have a company come in and clean the stuff out of the turf and get all that cleaned up. So that has yet to happen yet this summer, but it's scheduled.
So we do the wood gym here, we finish that every year.
It gets scrubbed and refinished, yes, but it doesn't get sanded down. That will come back to the board. Dr. Fagan is working on prices right now to do that floor and the stage floor, which hasn't been done. No one knows how long that's been. So we're getting prices to do both of those. That would be next year, a next year expense. It would happen next summer.
Any questions on maintenance for John? John, you want to give the superintendent's report?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Miss Smith, who's here tonight, and Miss Lorenz have both hit the ground running, and they're doing a great job. And just want to welcome them to their new roles. The only other thing I have is July 31st from 5 to 7. Just a reminder that we're planning a new staff cookout. Everybody, the board is welcome to join in. It's a come and go event for everyone, and hope to see. We've got several people already signed up to be there, so you'll get an invitation, and looking forward to getting everybody together.
Any other questions? Any questions? Before we move to discussion items. Community Champion Award.
Yeah, starting this school year, the district is going to be recognizing a community member, group, or organization that has made significant contributions in supporting and enriching the students of the district. The community champion will be recognized monthly at the regular board meeting, similar to how we do recognitions now. Much like the Making a Difference Award winner, the Community Champion Award winner will be highlighted on district social media as well as featured in central office, and that will start next month.
Where did that idea come from?
Actually, I heard about it from a peer that is a friend of mine from another state. They do something similar, and just in conversation with Dr. Fagan, we thought, why are we not recognizing the people that are impacting our students that are in the community?
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Joan. The Board of Education and Superintendent goals.
Before we go there, we got the activity
Oh, I'm sorry.
competition expenses. Kat was ready.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, Kat.
She's already
We wanted to give the board an update on the student activity competition expenses for the 23-24 school year. This account was used to pay for the activities of students that qualify to compete for district, state, and national competitions. This includes all registration, lodging, travel, and meal expenses for students and sponsors or coaches. The total for this last year for all activities was $59,718.73. We had budgeted $80,000 to cover these expenses. And we've also billed that same amount in the account for the FY25 budget to continue supporting the programs as they compete in district, state, and national competitions. And we'll continue to track this again for FY24 and 25.
It's the same 80,000 has been budgeted. Okay. Do you have any idea what that was? What that's been prior years?
No, we never tracked it, and many of those expenses, this is the first year we've paid for those.
Right.
So,
The expenses were there, but
and they were just all over the different place.
we could have been paying maybe 40.
I would be surprised if we were paying 10 of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
As an example, the cheer competitions were never paid for by the district. So if you look down at what their line item is, so that's all a new district expense. Whereas in the past, that had been from the fundraisers, parents.
And likewise for DECA Nationals too.
I think so. I think all of that was.
And
Yeah.
DECA, yeah,
Fun.
Yeah, great.
they were doing a lot of fundraising. 10,000, 9,900.
I think what's cool about this too is it actually shows us how successful these programs were, going to state and districts and nationals and all that stuff. So it's pretty neat to actually have it in front of us and actually see the success. So
Any other questions for Kat? Thank you. Now we get the Board of Education and Superintendent goals.
Yeah, last year the board had worked to align the board superintendent goals with the district CSIP. The goals in the current CSIP are provided in your packet. And at this point, the board can discuss, changes that they would like to make to these.
When do we evaluate ourselves on this?
It's kind of an ongoing evaluation, because much like the CSIP, it's ongoing, could happen at any time. Just as an example, if you look at CSIP Goal 2 of operations, the board goal provide resources That's their ability for facility support, instructional resources. You know, the instructional resource piece of it typically is going to be the end of the year for the next year. But the facility piece could be at any point in time over the course of the year.
That's what I've always struggled with.
Yeah.
We never, like, sit down and look at the goals. How did we do? And I think that kind of comes into play with the next topic. How are we doing?
And how can we measure it?
Right.
Because it's, well, specifically that board goal, provide resources to the best of our ability for facility support and instructional resources. Are we saying yes or no? Are we grading ourselves on 1 through 5? Are we giving ourselves a percentage, you know, of increase or decrease, or what kind of metric are we putting ourselves against?
And I think the last topic where we talked about supporting all these activities, like John said, anytime you can look at and kind of evaluate, but we never kind of set aside and just focus on running down through these individually.
And I think your evaluation, you know, you could probably do part of the evaluation based off of what Kat just talked about.
Sure.
You know, your commitment to supporting activities that came out of a meeting a little over a year ago. Well, I think that's a good, now, that's not specifically said in there, but it is evaluating the board's support of activities.
Same thing with our new technology goal that we're adding, you know, some of that started back when we weren't one-to-one with
Right.
books, and over the last 5 years, we've kind of gotten to that. I mean, we've made the decisions. You know, Logan's come to us with things he needs, and we've made the decisions to, you know, improve.
Are we able to, on some of our agenda items that specifically align to a goal, can we like call those out on the agenda or somewhere so it shows that we're actively addressing the goals?
Yes.
Okay.
I think in a couple more years, and I know we've implemented some tools now to actually see how we're growing in this district. And until we get that in place to where we can, I mean, these questions, you look at all this, there's so much gray in there. We could all sit around here and have a different answer for these questions, and I don't think any of them would be wrong. But in my opinion, what we need to be able to measure is growth from the students all the way up.
But having said that, Brian, the measurement, the device that we looked at, it's not on here.
I agree.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Smart Goal 1 is MAP, ACT, EOC. You have individualized literacy plans, which can come out of that. But number 3 is MTSS. So
Over the next year, can we try to map what we're doing month over month to this document and then see where we fall short?
Exactly right. I think
This
it's
feels like a
good idea.
checkbox right now that we're just checking, but I think if we can.
I should be able to, I can, like on an agenda item, I should be able to acknowledge how or where, what goal it aligns to in the CC.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
yes.
I think as a board, we should all have this CSIP sitting over here
Mhm.
every meeting
Agreed.
we go to. Just like a mission statement.
In fact, I'll probably just include it as a document in your board packet, so you have it available in detail, because
Yeah,
this doesn't include action steps. But there's no reason that you can't have that available.
R-VII, is that what we were looking at?
That's what we're doing, yeah.
Yes.
Last year was our first year, and so we'll get some really good information. We got good information last year because we were able to track and see growth, but now we're gonna be able to track and see that annual growth, but also compared to the prior.
And you can cohort.
You can
Year
do
over year.
cohort, or you can do
Yeah.
grade level, you can do, Man and I had a conversation today about the data and how that, different ways that we can display data.
Is that classified as, that's still formative, isn't it? I mean, that's not.
Yeah.
Some of the- What would you, yeah, okay.
Yes.
So John, you added SMART goal number 8. Was that last year it was added, or was that something?
That was added in the springtime when we had those meetings where each
These
goal got together. That was added. But yes, I'll get that. I'll figure out how to incorporate that on there, Kelsey,
Thank you.
because that will give good direction for the board as well.
So any edits that if something comes up, we review this and we can.
Yeah, it can.
Forward and we can.
We can move this forward as it is and start to incorporate some of these things to develop what that evaluation piece looks like and see how we're addressing these things.
Anybody have anything to add to that before we move on? Superintendent evaluation document.
In conversation with Cole, I included this for you guys' discussion.
Yeah, so I think this is something that I've been wanting to do just to help us whenever when we start talking about how John is serving the district and how we feel he's doing, we need to have some sort of guiding document. Is it in our board? Are we required to do this?
You're required to evaluate, but that could be a lot of different forms or fashions, yes.
So I would prefer to have a form or fashion that's documented to where, it's not just helpful for us, it's helpful for John.
Mhm.
So what John's put together is a couple examples from other districts. Nothing's labeled on here, so we don't know where they're from. But they're different documents, but both of them kind of align with what DESE recommends. And that's the third part of that package is kind of some guidance on how you document and evaluate your superintendent. So I guess what I would like to do is get the conversation going between board members and start formulating over the next few months this superintendent evaluation tool, what we want it to look like. I think for this meeting, I want to focus in on the evaluation, the schedule. When's the right time to take the data, compare to where we were the year before, and then begin to set goals for John, and then just kind of the process, just kind of set the calendar of what that might look like to effectively, the timing, give us the results when we need it before we set the goals, and the ability to evaluate John.
And truly with a request for annual renewal in January, and we've done that in January, but we started that process of what that looked like in December, so everyone was on board. You would be looking at a fall provide you information that aligns with whatever criteria you've laid out there.
And if we look at like the second and third goals on that CSIP document from previous, we're not gonna capture the midpoint. Is it really a formative? It requires at least 2 data points, if not more. So you're gonna get basically your baseline in September or October. Typically, that second assessment doesn't occur till late January, early February. So if we're gonna use that formative as a snapshot, we're gonna be looking at the prior academic year because we won't have 0.2 or 0.3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Unless, I mean, are you talking about unless we move that evaluation to like summer,
Yeah, but that
May or
That-
June, or is that
that
gonna give
doesn't
us?
happen.
Okay.
I mean, and logically, you evaluate your superintendent for approval in February. You evaluate your principals in February for approval in March. You evaluate so I mean, it's pretty logical timeline for those.
So in February approving, then by the end of March or April, we've set goals.
January.
Okay.
Because teachers have to be by law in March.
In March.
So then we've set goals as quickly as we can after that.
Sure, yeah.
So we won't get results at the data point you're saying until early.
Yeah,
That
what?
second one would have. I mean,
It'll be close. Yeah, the second one will be close to that point.
That January.
It'll be right after the January, but before we set goals in March.
Okay. Because February is, or you said the end of January is when we're approving.
Yeah,
Yeah, the superintendents were in January.
Yeah. so that's what I was saying. When we do that work, we're actually taking the prior year's formative assessments. And for that matter, the prior year's summatives.
Sure. So it's not, maybe the goals are not aligned with the school years, or
Sure.
maybe they're the second half of the prior and how he's gotten off the start of the next one.
With some of the things that we're doing now with multiple data points throughout the year, there could be some early fall data used in developing those goals. So as an example, we do a September I-Ready that could be used as a data point from one year to the next. The second window is January. There's no way you can get that turned around in time to evaluate and determine. But there are some things, since we're doing multiple points of data in different things, that could be a part of that.
So my understanding correctly, we want to take the current document and these other models and fashion a revision.
Yes, fashion a Odessa R-VII school district evaluation.
Okay.
And it may be that, so setting the goals right after we
Yeah.
approve, maybe it's after that first I-Ready. We can take a look at that data set goals. Yeah. That wouldn't work either, because later you're approving it again.
But if you're comparing September to a September,
Right.
you can compare a student in second grade September to a student in third grade, the same student in third grade. Or you could compare all of second grade in September and all of second grade. You can do it by cohort, you can do it by individual. There's a lot of different options when you're
So maybe that does make sense.
doing. I would just make sure you're doing more than just instructional data when you start looking at that. Use the audit as a point of evaluation too. And what are the fund balances, and does it align with what the board's vision is? Make sure you're using different types of data to develop that.
And in reality, when it comes to like the finance piece and the academic piece, we have two ladies here to whom those are delegated. So, but now the other three, you want a document to be able to evaluate John's ability to work, communicate, create vision within the community, but also to supervise folks who are responsible for these outcomes, right? Because very seldom will you see him in doing a Dibbles assessment in a third grade classroom, right? Or so, yeah, I'd love to participate in that. John might hate me participating in that, but I'd love to participate in that.
It'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think what I wanted to do, bring it up with this board meeting, just to kind of kick off and get us thinking about it, and kind of take a look at the ones that have been provided, the examples, if there's some formats you like, some things about it you don't like. I'll lean on you quite a bit, Brad, too. I don't know if you've got any experience with these, but I just want to start getting the ball moving forward.
We were talking about the timeline that you said you wanted to discuss. In here, there's already one like the formative evaluation period. It says it will begin July 1st. Now, this is just someone else's. And then the other, the end of the other evaluation would be April 30th of each school year. Is this just an option? But discuss that.
April and July.
April 30th. It'd be completed by April.
Basically the format again. Did you do your, sorry, John, did you do your format as after map, or did you form it and then map?
For our teachers?
No, for the kids. That last I-ready, was it
I-ready.
pre-map or
I ready
post-map?
first and then.
It was first.
Okay, all
But
right,
we've had conversations about doing it
invert that.
after,
Yeah. Yeah, if they're gonna
moving that map window, basically flipping those
Yeah.
windows.
they're gonna get test fatigue, let's let them get test fatigue on an I-ready and not a map, right?
Yes.
So Colt, in regards to there's an observation form in here. Were you wanting to implement that in the fall then as well?
I think so, yeah.
I was just curious. I was trying to follow along on your timeline of how you saw this shaking out. Did it say how many observations there would be?
It's just, I think it's just the one
Okay.
that I understood.
Okay. Well, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's just goes out to each of us to give an assessment on our own personal assessments, and we can come together and talk about it. I think it'd be helpful for John to have as well. Anything else before we move to action items? John, I'll let you take it. Your high school handbook revisions.
Yeah, it's been brought to our attention, the administration's attention, that in order for a part-time resident student to participate in a mission activity, the language that is included in your board packet has to be approved by the board. And then we would make this revision to the student handbook. And we've followed these guidelines, but it's not been written down.
So it's not specifically in policy.
Not yet.
Okay.
That's what this will do. By putting it in handbook, the handbooks are approved by the board. That makes it a part of policy through the handbook.
Is
We
this,
followed it, we just haven't done it.
Is
So,
this a Misha guideline? Is what it is?
yeah, Measure requires it to be board approved.
Okay. But we have approved Misha already, haven't we?
As far as,
They're following their policies.
well, they don't have policies for us
They
to
have
follow.
guidelines.
They have guidelines, and this is, yes, we've always followed them. The only difference here, we do this, it's just not written down that we do it. So this is just putting it in writing.
Can I ask just a point of clarification?
Sure.
Okay, so it indicates, one, a student is enrolled at least 2 classes per semester, and 2, student is enrolled and continues to be enrolled in at least 4 other classes per semester via homeschool, online, or other approved curriculum. Does that mean that these 2 classes per semester cannot be online?
They have to be in seat.
Okay.
So,
So an ace kiddo can't play football? Well, technically, that's in seat.
that's in seat.
Okay.
But you could also take a online course here in the district every day too. Let's say a student wants to take Japanese through launch.
Okay.
They could come here and do that,
Okay.
and that would count towards it.
Okay.
That would count towards an NC if it was an online course, but they
But
were
here,
here. Okay.
It's got to be in the building 2 periods per day.
yes.
Copy that.
How many, I mean, just, do you have any idea, like, roughly how many homeschool kids we have that participate in mission sports?
Not very many. And haven't had a lot over the years, but I don't want to get us or the student or the team
Yeah.
in a bad spot.
Make a motion, we approve the additional language for student participation.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Motion passed. Career ladder plan.
Amanda is here to,
Hello, hello. Career ladder, fun action. So, before summer break, the PDC got together and revised some changes from our last couple of years' career ladder plans. So there are a couple of changes that we are proposing. They're noted there. So one of them are all of the career ladder activities must be DESE approved. So on page 9 of our plan, there is a DESE standards for activities that are inappropriate for our career ladder program. So we updated those. That sheet came right from DESE. We updated that in our district plan. Another change is instead of the 45 required student contact hours for career ladder, we are now doing 50% of the teachers' hours have to be student contact. And then we are also waiting on DESE. So Senate Bill 727 states a couple of changes in career ladder. So that has been passed. We are now, I think, 2 or 3 months in the waiting game, getting clarification from DESE on how to interpret that language. We're hoping that we get something back before the start of school so that we can communicate that to staff so that they know what these new expectations are. But we are proposing to go ahead and have our current district career ladder plan approved. When we get that clarification, we can go ahead and add that in there, and then we'll communicate those updates as we get them.
So the fact that we are waiting, it's kind of pending on, is gonna be communicated to.
Yes, from DESE. And we asked, I think it was in May, Dr. McLean had reached out to DESE, and they said, we will get it out as soon as we can. That's kind of their standard answer. So it's, I mean, the verbiage of it is in there. Repealing provision of the previous law that teachers have to do all their hours outside of contract time, and then what those activities could be. So we are just, again, waiting for what that means, because it can be interpreted, I think, in a lot of different ways.
Just use the same language that it is.
So we're waiting on DESI to interpret Senate Bill 727.
Yes.
So that could play into some people not falling under the criteria that Bill 727 defines.
I think
It
it
won't affect the people that are eligible though.
Okay.
It will affect what they are allowed to do.
to
I think
meet those standards.
the intention of legislators was to broaden what teachers could do to turn in the hours.
Okay.
But they haven't clarified specifically or more specifically as to what that means.
Okay.
So I kind of anticipate that the activities for inappropriate for the career ladder program that DESI provides, that will be updated.
Okay. I guess what I'm saying is like, I hope we don't have, say, a teacher that by all information given is a go on their idea,
Right.
and then all of a sudden this comes out and well, okay, well now you can't, it's not approved or it's not, it doesn't qualify
If they had it approved under the existing plan, it would be approved under
under this.
because this
Okay.
this
Yes.
broad.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as
It would open it
Well,
up more.
based
Somebody
on
would-
last year, if it had worked last year, then there would be fine
Unless
this
they
year. Okay.
propose a plan that's wrong.
Okay.
This is where we're at.
I think it's. It should be up to local board to interpret litigation or legislation, not. Finish the sentence.
Okay. So I guess now I need a motion to approve your letter plan.
So move.
Second.
Whichever one you
So
want.
moved.
I'll take the second.
All in favor? Thanks, Kat.
Thank
Or-
you.
Kat, for everything.
We're at the same height, same colors today.
Cat's just here so much.
2024-25 employee manual.
Yeah, the employee manual in draft form is included in your packet. The draft version highlights the changes from last year's manual. Most changes were pretty simple updates from last year. I do want to point out, though, it does include the new approved language by the board on bereavement leave.
Make a motion to approve the employee manual as presented.
A motion and a second. Any opposed? Or all in favor? Yes. Technology specialist 2 job.
So in working with Mr. Seals, we did a market research of, to develop a technology specialist 2 job description and salary schedule. The district has had the technology specialist 1 description and schedule for several years, and this has served as an entry-level position and responsibilities. It's reflected in the salary. As the field continues to expand and the more critical the role of daily operation technology becomes for our operation, we believe it's necessary to develop we believed it to be necessary to develop the technology 2, specialist 2, and increase the qualifications, duties, responsibilities, as well as the salary schedule for those increased qualifications and responsibility. And we did a comparison of conference schools. The new starting salary proposed is competitive and falls within the mid-range of the conference schools.
Can an experienced hire come in and start above step 1, or do they?
Yes,
They
if
can't
they have documented experience.
outside of education.
Yeah, I would take that.
Okay.
So is this position to work under Logan, or are they?
It's not creating a new position. We already have the positions we have. It's just increasing the responsibilities and qualifications of a technology 2 person instead of just being entry level. It's not an additional position.
Okay.
It probably dramatically improves the retention of a 1 to a 2 if over time.
Okay.
It also makes them more marketable if they do go to a different job because they have a higher title that they can put on their resume.
Sure. We don't want them to.
No,
That's kind of the point of.
another job within the district.
To keep them,
But it gives
but yes.
internal hires something to strive for.
Certainly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It gives an internal hire instead of just seeing what they have. If they want to
Yeah.
put in the time or get the degree, that could move them.
I make a motion we approve the job description for a technology specialist too.
Second.
A motion, a second, all in favor? On 4 transfers.
Cat.
Included in your board packet is a request to approve 2 FY24 fund transfers. The first one is the 7% fund transfer. At the end of each fiscal year, school districts have the option to transfer either $162,326 or, $162,326 or up to 7% of the formula. The formula is 7% times the state adequacy target, the SAT, times the district's weighted average daily attendance. The district has a choice to choose either amount or an amount less than the top amount allowed. As we close out the fiscal year, we wanted to present a request for the fund transfer for the full amount of $859,920. This transfer would be used for capital fund purchases and improvements. The second fund transfer is for food service. We are allowed to transfer from general to capital projects fund an amount necessary to pay for kitchen/food service related equipment. This transfer may only be made from balances remaining in the food service account. We are requesting a transfer in the amount of $60,000 for capital expenditures associated with food service equipment and improvement. We ask that the board approve these transfers as presented.
I like that you got the HVAC component replacement in the food service transfer. That's very strategic, Dr. O. I like that.
All right, any questions for Kat related to these fund transfers, requests?
I'll make a motion to approve Fund 4 transfers.
I'll second.
Motion, a second, all in favor? Motion carried. And with that, I need a motion to conduct a closed executive session, including any record or vote at the next scheduled meeting pursuant to statutes contained in Chapter 610.021 RSMO.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And now I need a motion for adjournment.
So
Motion,
Second.
second, all in favor? Roll call.
Aye.